Oh no, no audio. Excuse me. I had muted my stuff. So, well, welcome. Daily live stream number 9. More people streaming in from various different platforms. Instagram. Okay. And then I could hear myself. So we're still working some technical difficulties. I figured out how to increase the speed of my internet. So we'll increase the quality of the stream soon. Fiber is not in my area, which is a 25 times upload speed, but I can still multiply it by 2. So for 20 bucks a month, no brainer. But sound on, yes. So GoFundMe is at 50%, which is great. As I was saying before, Buick, great to have you here. We appreciate you moderating the Discord. And things are, the stream is looking good, which is great. So here we're here for 9 days in a row, and we're going to do this for the next 28 days because the conference starts, Intact Global's conference, March 29 to 31 in Portland, Oregon. And we had a 2.5-hour board meeting with the other board members of Intact Global this morning. We discussed all things conference, what are we going to approve, what are we don't in terms of funding, how are we going to promote this. We probably have maybe 35 plus already attendees, but we want to have, more. The more we get, the better we do. I think that we could probably max this out, which would be excellent. We already have a good showing, but we want to have a great showing. We want this to be enforced. We're here to protect all children from genital cutting. And we're very optimistic that we can do that, right? And, the best way to do that, the best plan we have right now is we're going to sue the state of Oregon on equal protection grounds. And before we do that, we're going to have a little, let's say, strategy session conference, 2 days of leading. We're going to have 8 lawyers giving presentations, intactivist lawyers, as well as other leaders from the movement, doctors opposing circumcision, GalDef, Intaction, maybe some more as we get closer to the event. And we're going to walk through that. We're going to walk through the conference schedule, right? And, I'll field some questions if you want to post some comments, whatever platform you may be watching on. And then, definitely this might not be the longest stream today, but there'll be a stream tomorrow and so on and so forth. So the conference, it's going to be 2 full days. And let me just share the screen that has the conference up so you can kind of see exactly what we're talking about. It's going to be at the Sentinel Hotel, which is a very nice boutique luxury hotel. It's kind of in the Marriott Hilton price range. If you factor in our room block, which, hasn't been working. So, ping me if you have problems with it. But if you go to intact.global/conference, that's the short link, which I'll post right here on the channel. So you can kind of follow along if you want. And if you have any questions, let me know. Paul S., woohoo, you know it, baby. So this is the link. Definitely go to intact.global/conference. And when you go there, what you will see, and I will share with you right now, is you will have, let's see. We're going to share that screen if I can find it. Here we go. We're going to share this tab instead. Intact Global/conference. And, it has all the details for the conference, which you should absolutely attend if you're passionate about protecting children from genital cutting, right? Because we're going to have 8 lawyers giving presentations. A lot of them are going to be doing very important constitutional litigation to ensure that every child is equally protected from genital cutting. And at the end of the conference, we're going to sue the state of Oregon on constitutional equal protection grounds. And, the basic argument is, look, it's great that Oregon protects its infant girls from genital cutting, medically unnecessary cutting off parts of their bodies, their genitals specifically, which is bizarre that anyone does that. But it's also bizarre that we do that to our boys. And it's hard to really appreciate how bizarre it is because it's been done to over 100 million American citizens. And that just makes it particularly pernicious, right? And so we're going to stop that, and we're going to stop it like in the immediate future, and this is the plan. So anyway, if you're passionate about protecting children from this type of like outrageous child abuse, definitely attend the 2025 Intact Global Conference, right? It's going to be March 29 to 31. That's a Saturday through a Monday. Saturday, Sunday is going to be at the Sentinel. We're going to have great presentations, strategy sessions throughout. And then on the 31st, we are going to have a press conference in the Courtyard Square announcing the filing of the lawsuit. It's going to be in Portland, Oregon. Why Portland? Well, that's where we're filing the lawsuit. That's where the first constitutional challenge is going to be. And this was a result of, years of brainstorming, of finding the right plaintiffs, finding the right state. It was a very deliberate starting location. But, we're going to, assuming internet, you guys want to scale this movement up, and we totally should. The fact that, we need to put this much moving energy into protecting children from something so heinous is really hard to grasp, but we are where we are. If you internet want to scale this up, come to the conference, but two, let's say that's not practical, like this stream, subscribe to my channel, tell other people, become a monthly donor to Intact Global. We're doing exceptionally important work, and we're doing it at, we're very efficient at it as well. I mean, it's hard to conceive of anything more important than protecting children from outrageous harm at birth. So yes, as Oceanburst says, please share the conference link on your social media, share my channel, you name it. So anyway, so as I mentioned before, this is Monday morning, March 31st. This is where we're going to announce the filing of the lawsuit. This is the Courtyard Square, right? We have the amphitheater there. We're going to have refreshments, coffee, you name it. That's, I think, the appellate courthouse. This is the aerial view of the space that we rented. And then general admission. So this is where you go to get your ticket. You still have early bird tickets, $100 off, and you get a swag bag. So we have, the shirt, the hat, and the canvas bag. And there's, I think, 9 left, right? So we've got 9 swag bags left. Thank you, Luminous Birth. I appreciate the comment on Instagram, which doesn't come through to my StreamYard. Great work. But yeah, so we got 9 early bird tickets left. We just took an audit of that. $200. It comes with 2 catered lunches, a reception at the Sentinel. This is a nice hotel. It's like top tier catering too. Coffee and refreshments throughout. They're probably below cost, honestly. So it's not like we're doing this to, although we will solicit donations, you don't have to donate, but we want you there, right? We already have good showing, but we want to have great showing, which is why we're doing these streams every single day. So anyway, so general admission, that's the $200 ticket, and that's going to have 2 days of the presentations, right? Presentations and strategy sessions. So we're going to, and this is the Sentinel, right? This is the location that we're going to be hosting the conference. There's got some beautiful rooms. They're going to look really good on camera because we're going to film everything as well. We're going to have it all professionally filmed. I just got confirmation this morning from my 3rd videographer. So we're going to have 3 people on DSLRs or DLSRs cameras filming. And then we have a professional editing company, and they do phenomenal work. I'm actually going to post a video that they made for me later today. Jay Traveling Man, I see you logged in. And I should say, definitely text me. I think I gave you my number. Chugga T, me and Katie Ziegler. Well, yeah, this is quite the throwback. Hello. I'm not exactly sure who Chugga is. That's not, I should say, that descriptive, but that's okay. It's hard to tell from the picture. But yeah, so here's the picture of the venue. This is the Multnomah Whiskey Library. This is where we're going to have the founders dinner. We only have 6 tickets left for that. And that's going to be, the board members, leaders of other intactivist organizations, hopefully some of the plaintiffs, some of the bigger donors, right? The people who have the resources to throw behind this and say, look, how do we, as a small group, organize this movement and end the genital cutting of children in like the immediate future, not like 5-10 years, but like 1-3 years, right? In that range. The president of the United States has mentioned defunding circumcision twice. in like the last 1 or 2 weeks. Previous administrations, and I'm a single issue voter, right? Makes it very easy, politics. But previous administrations were spending tens of millions of dollars mutilating like African men and boys, right? That was their plan. And now we're literally defunding that. So we've also, America, and by we, I mean certain factions of America, have put on political pressure of Iceland and Denmark when they try to make it illegal to generally cut baby boys and minors, right? And so it looks like we're flipping the switch on those policies, which were outrageously stupid and cruel. And so that's perfect, right? It's a perfect time for us to scale up this equal protection litigation. That's what we're doing. And so this is the founders dinner. It's a beautiful venue. There's a reason that we picked the places that we did. This is the green room, which is where we're probably going to have it. And then essentially the lineup, I will start with a presentation. Why are we here? What's the plan? What's the end game in tacticism, right? And then Joe McCormick, the treasurer, he's going to talk about, okay, well, what are the fundraising, how do we fund this? And as I say routinely, although it's a multi-billion-dollar industry to circumcise infants, and as Peter Adler says, Medicaid spent $500 million on circumcision between 96 and 2016. And then there's also the foreskins that hospitals sell from, from babies that they harvest without their consent. And then there's, there's the surgeries to correct the circumcisions that are botched. And then there's the private insurers. So, it's probably a multi-billion-dollar industry a year. We don't need to raise anywhere near that because they're mutilating infants for profit. We're trying to protect children from harm. So it's asymmetric messaging and warfare. We probably need to raise $1 for every $1,000 the opposition spends. But we still have to raise a couple $1 million at the end of the day. But, hypothetically, if, my law firm wins this big trial that's 30 days after the conference, I might be able to just, cover that tab without breaking a sweat. I mean, that would be epic. And it's certainly within the realm of possibility. So, millions of dollars sounds like a lot of money, but the internet is vast. And this is an international human rights movement. And it is of extreme importance of protecting children from extreme harm at birth. It's hard to find a cause that could have more unanimous support across the aisle. Alyssa, great to see that you made another live. Once we protect all children, how do we make sure medical practitioners get up to date on intact care and don't forcefully retract to perpetuate the problematic foreskin narrative? Great question. So essentially, a lot of doctors will they'll see a healthy infant and they've never seen, an intact penis, or they don't know what to do with it. And they say, oh, well, you have to retract it and clean it inside and whatever. And you don't do that with a baby girl. You don't do it with a baby boy. You clean what is seen. I think once it's illegal to cut an infant without a medical purpose, which it arguably already is, but once it definitely is, doctors are going to be put on notice that they're going to have to get up to speed, right? So anyway, this is the link, intact.global/conference to log in. Rachel Suhu, Chugga T. I'm going to see who Chugga T is while we're here. Oh, no, I guess I can't leave my stream. My phone is blowing up. Give me a second. This is my new paralegal. He calls me Mr. Miyagi because I have him do random stuff around the house, right? But you got to start with unrolling the carpet and putting together the cable wires or whatever. I'll say hello. Why don't you stop by? I'm on a live now, but we'll wrap up soon. And if he wants to step in and say hello on the stream, I'll give him the option. You're welcome to say hello. No pressure. So anyway, we're going to go back to what we're actually going to do. Chugga T, I wish I could find out who you are, because now I'm curious. How do you not know me? Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Chugga, I mean, definitely wasn't your nickname growing up. Oh, it's Christina Hughes. Oh, hello. Yeah, I know who you are, but that's not a very descriptive handle, and the pictures are really small. So, hello, Christina. You're welcome to join the conference of Portland, Oregon, March 29 to 31. We've got a room block. It's a beautiful hotel. I just went through the pictures, and so the lineup of speakers. Oh, and definitely subscribe, by the way, if you're not already. YouTube is the primary channel, but I blast this out on all my social medias. My paralegal is going to think about stopping in to say hello. My girlfriend's doing some auditioning in the floor below, but I'm going to pressure her to open the door. And she might say no, and then the stream is over. So, but the second talk is going to be from our treasurer. Say, okay, how do we fund this? Like I said before, we may need millions of dollars, but again, that's not that much in the grand scheme of things. We're going to end the genital mutilation of children, right? So it's something that's totally within achievability from one person, let alone all of us. Although let's not count on me, and I don't think that it's necessarily fair to have to bankroll the entire thing. But yeah, so Joe's going to talk about how do we fund this, reasonably, because we're going to have to probably fund, we have one lawsuit going on just about at the end of the lawsuit, at the end of conference, but we're going to need to probably sue 2, 5, 10, maybe even 20 states, which I could manage quite easily if I have the funding. I can't sue them all, but I could manage that amount of litigation, or at least, appropriately, monitor the billings and make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to, right? The law firms who sue each state. And I've got law firms in a fair number of different states who are down to do this if we get the plaintiff. I got one in Minnesota already, and a lawyer from Minnesota who's expressed extreme interest to only do this type of litigation starting in 2026, but maybe we can urge him to start in 2025, which again, not, we're already in Q2, or no, we're not, but we're pushing it. Shay Johnson is going to talk about growing the Intact Coalition. In our board meeting today, he was talking about an analogy of, a brilliant activist who was able to get, every single coalition to get behind workers' rights in Chicago. We're talking everywhere from the African American community to the Asian community to literally the neo-Nazi community. Not that that's a cohort that you want to, count, but he might be using that not maybe hyperbolically, but everybody was okay. We may totally disagree on fundamental things, but we agree on not mutilating infants, and that is something that I believe that we could get a winning majority to vote on. Right? I know it requires some, let's say, wisdom and de-brainwashing, but it's definitely something that could be done. The Four Skinny, thank you for what you're doing. That's of course. And then Will Long is another board member of Intact Global, is going to talk about, okay, well, how do we, because a lot of what we've done is from contributions from people who have very, very developed skills, but they may not have, they can't work full time because they've got obligations and, families and jobs. Will's a great example. He's got all that and he runs a company, but he also developed Intact Global's entire website, right, and digital infrastructure. And so we've got a lot of people who've got a lot of skills. How do we mobilize them in the right direction, right? Carter Steinhoff may be doing a little anatomy thing. We're not totally sure. Tim Hammond, who's also a director of a important nonprofit, GalDef, and he's done a lot of great work on kind of the harm that circumcision has done, global surveys. And he's going to give a speech there. Essentially, what does GalDef do? How is it different from? Oh no, it'll take me over an hour. Okay, so that was my paralegal saying he's not making it, which is fine. But yeah, Tim Hammond is going to give a talk about what does GalDef do, right? Because Intact Global, we fund these equal protection lawsuits, but GalDef also is funding this lawsuit. They pledged $10,000. I got a big $10,000 check over there, which is great. I prefer a real check, but the sentiment is appreciated. And he's going to talk about, okay, what does GalDef do? What type of lawsuits do they fund? Because they'll probably fund breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, Medicaid, to stop Medicaid. There's a kind of a broader scope there, and also education, which Intact Global does. I mean, this conference would definitely fall in educational effort, as would these streams as well. And then John Geishiker, who is the executive director of DOC, Doctors Opposing Circumcision. He's going to give a presentation as well. I love his topic. He said he didn't want to reveal it yet, but it's actually it could be a decisive victory for this movement, and we're really excited to have him, let's say, present that publicly. It's already in the works, but if it works, then that's a huge, huge, huge fundamental historic win, and so we're really excited to hear him give that presentation. And then Michael Abanika, who's a human rights attorney, a good friend of mine from Uganda. He's a partner at a litigation firm there. And he also has a network of human rights attorneys all over Africa and, obviously me in the US, but he wants to build that network internationally, across the pond. And we think that he could, we know that he's a very important ally, and it is Intact Global. Of course we want to protect children from genital mutilation in the US, but how do we support all efforts to protect children, right? We don't want to discriminate which children we protect, although we will do whatever. I don't want to go down that road. So anyway, some comments before we go on to day 2. Alyssa had a question. I fielded that question. David Myers. Oh, David, what do you squat these days? Well, it's not that much, but it's more than you, and that's what's important, David. Yeah, I'm not doing sets of 300 squats anymore and 400 deadlifts. Although, is that out of the realm possibility moving forward? I never got the freshman 15 or the COVID 15, but I did get the law firm 10. And that was a big deal for me because I work extremely aggressively on behalf of my clients, and I get them very good outcomes. But, sometimes when you're working 12, 14, 16, I've put in a few 19-hour days, like 8 a.m. to 3 a.m., which, yielded phenomenal results. But, it takes a toll on the body, right? So yeah, I squat more than you, David, but it's not like it was. But maybe after this trial, late April, we'll take a couple month vacations to get ripped again. Buick shared the live in a number of Discord channels. Thank you for keeping doing that. We want to get the numbers up. Obviously, numbers on the stream is good, but most importantly, we want everybody to get their ticket, right? This is the URL up here. Oh, I guess you can't see it. But here's the URL. I'm going to put it in the comments right here. So definitely go get your ticket. And so, yeah, and day 2, we're going to have on Sunday, we're going to have a bunch of different lawyers. This is mostly the lawyers speaking. We're going to have an Intact litigation panel, except Tony Lasquato, who's still scheduled for Sunday. And he's the executive director of Intaction, and they've done some really phenomenal work in terms of getting the state of New Hampshire to defund circumcision for Medicaid, right? Because once you defund it, parents aren't going to mutilate their kids if they have to pay for it, right? I mean, that's just the reality. If I'm not in the US, can I still join the conference? Maybe can I use a hologram? Well, that's funny and clever. And, if you tell us how to set it up, then and you bankroll the project, then absolutely, we'll get you the hologram. He ha ha, LOL. So here's the link to the conference again. But yeah, and then we're gonna have Zenas Barr, who is that Minnesota litigator I mentioned and has done similar litigation, about a generation ago. I think a generation ago we weren't ready. There wasn't enough dissemination of information on the accuracy or of what's actually going on to children, like how we're naming them at birth for no reason at all, which is just drives me crazy, right? Like, why would you mutilate your infant sex organs? I mean, there's no medical indication. It harms them immediately. There's often terrible complications. About 100 babies die every year. And then even if it goes right, you're still removing half of the skin on the organ and permanently impairing sexual relations for the rest of the individual's life, and damaging his partner as well. Partners probably. So it's just totally nuts. So yeah, he's done litigation like this about a generation ago. Might have been a little too early, but he's ready to pick up the sword again, and we're ready to support him. Peter Adler, who's with us with the stream, who's also a legend in the Intactivist community. He's the most widely published in the legal literature on how genital cutting is indefensible, how it's unlawful to fund circumcision using Medicaid dollars because it's not a medical procedure. There is no medical necessity. In fact, it is medically unnecessary. And he's going to talk about different legal rights that are violated from circumcision. And if a legal right is violated, you typically have a legal remedy, which means you can sue someone and get typically compensation money. That's the tool that the law uses. Obviously, you can't give you your foreskin again or your bodily integrity or remove that trauma that's occurred. But if doctors have to pay big sums of money for cutting babies without medical need, well, they're going to stop doing it, right? And again, I emphasize the vast majority of doctors in the world do not mutilate infants at birth for money. I mean, it's almost uniquely American in how common it is in a medical setting. Obviously religions cut up their kids, and that's, been going on for a long time, and that's a different problem. But, we're not dealing with that right now. So anyway, so yeah, and then we're going to have Brad Kane, who has a uncanny ability to influence people. I learned to litigate under Brad Kane. He is a brilliant litigator, brilliant messenger, political strategist, and he will probably talk about what would be most effective messaging. And as I've said before, Barack Obama's winning campaign was hope, or campaigns. Donald Trump's winning campaigns was make America great again. What does hope mean? What does make America great again? Again, these things are amorphous, and that's the power. They are powerful because they are amorphous, because people fill in what they mean. And what we mean, and we're going to be very clear about it, is protecting all children, right? That's what we're doing. And that is our messaging, and that is the winning message. It is not, don't mutilate your infant, although I say that often, and it's true, like if we want to talk about what actually we're talking about. But at the end of the day, what we're printing on our t-shirts is, all children are equally protected, intact global, protecting every child, no matter their, sex, right? Maybe, or gender, or no matter how you're born, you deserve protection, right? Something like that. Deborah, who's also runs a civil litigation firm in Los Angeles, like both I do and Brad Kane does, she's going to talk about the dangers of cultural conditioning. Although I grew up Jewish, she grew up like conservative Jewish, right? Conservative Jewish household community. And, like me, she thought, circumcision was normal, maybe even healthy, and everyone does it. And then when she got older and she learned the truth that it's actually like extremely painful for the infant and harms him for life and violates his rights and sometimes kills the infant and always damages him. Well, she wants to protect children from harm, including Jewish children. And so she's going to talk from her perspective, like, okay, how did I come to the realization that my community is engaged in this systemic harm against infants, and how, as a Jewish individual with integrity and who's informed about this, how do we educate others without potentially isolating them? How do we recruit people onto the correct side of history that protects children? So yeah, and then we're going to have John Stiller, who got me into litigation, who is the president of the American Institute of Bisexuality, and he's done phenomenal work in that role. I mean, probably when he started, people who identified as bi was maybe 1%. Gen Z, a YouGov poll polled in a statistically significant sample, about 23% of Gen Z people identify as bisexual, so over 1 in 5, practically 1 in 4. And since sexuality is on a spectrum, you're typically not 100% gay, 100% straight. You're usually somewhere in that middle. That makes sense, right? But before, there was like practically erasure of the LGBTQ community. Then there's big bi erasure. You're either gay or you're straight. And now, all the Gen Z kids are like, we're all bi, or at least 1 in 4. It's like the chic thing to do. And there's probably a heavy element of truth in that 23%. But anyway, he's seen huge numbers, and his messaging is it's cool, assumed, and normal to be bi. Well, it's also cool and assumed and normal to be anti-circumcision. It should be assumed that you're not for tying up infants and mutilating their sex organs, right? That should be an assumed thing. It is cool to not torture infants, right? So these are all things that are cool, assumed, and normal, but we need to there's definitely messaging in the movement that, there's a lot of shock messaging, and I've done that as well, obviously. But, it has its place and can be useful. But at the same time, if we're going to get the mushy middle, we have to make it cool, assumed, and normal. And then, yeah, I'm going to do a final talk. I'll probably reiterate what I said and say, okay, this is where we are and this is where we're going. But we're going to get there much faster if we go there together as a community. And that's why we're doing these streams. We need as many people there as we can get. The Intact Global Conference. So yeah, once you go to the website, and here you could see it down here. This is the link. I'm going to put it in the, on the screen here. I'm not sure if you can click on it. I don't think it goes to Instagram, unfortunately. So maybe I'll just like post it in the, I don't know if that's going to work. Anyway, I might have destroyed the stream on Instagram, but that's okay. But yeah, once you're on this channel, or once you're on this page, you can get your discounted book room here. It goes to buy early bird ticket. So once you click that button, you go to Ticket Tailor, which is our vendor, right, to buy your ticket. There's only 9 early bird tickets left. So and it's $100 off, and you get about, I guess there's 27. Well, there's 27, but we've got 9. We've got 9 packages left, and we'll probably give them out to other people. And I'll give up mine. I've got a few extra. But yeah, so definitely get your early bird ticket while we still have them. And then we've got 6 tickets left at the Founders Dinner. And yeah, if you want to do an extra little donation, that's fine. Now, those of you who are extremely receptive, and there's a lot of you who have joined the streams for many days in a row. There's one thing here that is no longer has been removed. So again, buy your ticket and get your discounted room block, right? So let's say you're coming Friday, which is typical, and you're leaving Monday, and you do a search. Well, yeah. So we've been having this consistent issue, and so again, that's something we'll deal with. Hypothetically, you could get your room block there. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm hoping that 5 of you who are watching the stream say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the conference. It's going to be a historic event, and it is going to be the beginning of the end of the genital mutilation of children in the United States, right? And we used to be a big exporter of genital mutilation. It seems like under this administration, we are now, let's say, backing off that heinous position, which is great. Great news. Good job. So yeah, this is the time to strike. The iron's hot. There's been enough grassroots activism and awareness that we're beginning to realize, maybe we shouldn't perform routine amputations on our children, let alone on their sex organs. It is so wicked. It is hard to believe, right? So anyway, we're great. So I'm gonna address some questions real quick. It's gonna be a relatively short stream. I've got some comments. Let's take a look. As Rachel said, I told my friend who lives in Seattle about your conference yesterday. She will be attending. She's a very strong intactivist. That's epic, Rachel. Thank you so much. If your friend wants to reach out to me as well, eric@klopper.com or eric@klopper.law or eric@intactglobal.org. It's very easy to reach, eric@klopper.com. And just say, look, I'm an intactivist in Seattle. If she wants to help promotions, right? We're starting to, let's say, gather a team of local intactivists to promote it locally as well. But thank you, Rachel, for spreading the word. Gregory Malchek says, Peter Adler asking about the $500 million Medicaid spent over a period of time. I think it was 10 years. I'm not sure. It's probably not adjusted. I would think Medicaid spent more than $500 million over a few years. Gregory says, is there some kind of coordinated plaintiff recruitment? Maybe some television advertising would ruffle some feathers. Imagine Cirque advertisements like mesothelioma, asbestos litigator advertisements. Well, right now, even let's say we had a plaintiff in every state, we still don't have we don't have a lawyer in every state, and we don't have the funding beyond the Oregon litigation right now. So I think we're going to have to really nail the conference, which of course we will, right? I'm on it. We're on it. And then we're going to do a great job with the Oregon litigation for a month or two, and then we'll sue another state. So even if we had 40 plaintiffs, it's like, well, look, that's probably not the bottleneck. We've got a great plaintiff in Minnesota. We've got a lawyer barred in Minnesota. So maybe we're ready to go in Minnesota already. We'll see. But yeah, we have a plaintiff form on our website. You can reach out to me or a different officer of Intact Global. There's certain criteria you need to meet. But if you're from Oregon and you want to be a plaintiff, well, we've already got 5 plaintiffs there, and we can add more plaintiffs, no problem. That's easy. You want to be part of this historic constitutional litigation. I just added two brothers, I think 27, 25 years old, very smart, accomplished, respectable, cool individuals who are like, dude, I didn't have this choice. Why? That's fundamentally wrong and actually violates my constitutional right to equal protection. And they're 100% right. So they're pretty epic. So yeah. And as Oshaber says, please subscribe to my channel, whatever channel you may be watching on. Certainly my YouTube, that's the big one. But, you know, if you're watching this on, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or, you know, X, subscribe to that. But YouTube is where we want to be. Rachel says, Eric, you need to get in front of clinical educators in hospitals. They are who put together our yearly teachings online education. Nurses have no idea how to properly care for intact babies. I'd love to. I'm feeling a little overextended, and by feeling, I mean I am. I'm starting to get physical symptoms of overwork. So yeah, if you have a proposal on how we can get that done, I'm certainly open to it. Maybe I could send it to someone on the board to work on, or, maybe if Intact Global supports you financially or otherwise via our network, we can move that forward. Ocean Birth might be a good resource on this as well. As Paul says, keep the ideas coming. This is the first of your live sessions that I have caught. Been following your work since 2018. Thank you for all you are doing in stopping this harm. Hey, happy to do it, Graham. I'm glad you follow. Since 2018, obviously that was a huge effort when I was a Harvard employee, and then they really terminated that career, huh? So yeah, and I haven't been nearly as public because it took a long time to learn, get my law degree, then to actually learn how to litigate, then to start my law firm, and then have the financial resources to do whatever I want, right? So including host this conference. So there was definite steps to get before we got there, but now we're ready to take this off to take off. And once we sue Oregon, I think people are going to say, and the strength of this complaint is overwhelming. Right. I mean, this is a very, very strong piece of legal writing and persuasion. And it's something that we have a great team that we could port this complaint to other states as well. So yeah, thank you, Graham. Definitely subscribe to my channel, and maybe you can make it to the conference. That'd be epic. March 29 to 31 in Portland. So Brandon Emmerich, can you still do this even if you no longer live in the state in which you were circumcised? Absolutely. Great question, Brandon. So let's say I was cut in Massachusetts. I live in Los Angeles. I could sue Massachusetts, right? That's where the harm occurred. Massachusetts was the responsible entity for not providing the equal protection under the law. Now, I'm a little old to be the lead plaintiff. I can't remember off the top of my head when Massachusetts passed its anti-FGM law, but let's say it was 2000 to make it, the math easy. That would mean that a lead plaintiff would have to be 25 years or younger. I might be the second plaintiff, but if I'm the lawyer, I probably wouldn't be the plaintiff. So, anyway. But yeah, so wherever you were circumcised, that's where that's the state you could sue, and you do not need to live in the state. So brilliant question, Brandon. Paul, we'll send smoke signals across the pond. I guess you're, you won't be able to join us in Portland, but maybe next conference. Rachel, so much of the medical community doesn't think newborns feel pain during circumcisions because many times the infants zone out, which is likely dissociation from pain. Educate in hospitals. Well, hospitals are armored targets. I don't know if they're like super receptive to education from lawyers and other, people who don't have an in at that particular hospital or aren't like a pharmaceutical company who's paying them kickbacks. But certainly open to it. So, again, if we have like a definite game plan, how we're going to do this, and this might be something, I know that you can't make it to the conference, Rachel, but that would be a good presentation for a conference speaker. How do we, because the conference isn't circumcision is harmful. The conference is how do we synchronize our clocks and ensure that we end the genital cutting of children in the immediate future. And so that would be a good strategy, like a good little TED talk, because there's going to be a bunch of TED talks and strategy sessions. So, and And as Paul says, babies go into shock when you cut up their genitals. Yeah, not surprising. Gregory, if the medical field doesn't believe in infant pain, then why bother using any form of anesthesia during infant surgery? They say this crap because they know circumcision specifically is awful. Well, they used to do open heart surgery on infants without anesthesia, which is hard to believe. And in 1987, Children's Hospital in Boston and Harvard did a joint study where they looked at the pain centers of the brain, and they noticed that they were particularly activated during painful experiences of infants. And it took this to get the medical community, I think it was 1987, to really start seriously considering, oh, maybe infants feel pain. I mean, it is a profoundly stupid premise to think that they don't feel pain. And you have to kind of suppress all of your humanity if you've ever held a baby to think that they don't feel pain. But I guess that's what the medical profession, some of individuals told themselves, so they wouldn't feel cruel when they were literally sawing body parts off of children. I mean, it is beyond comprehension how wicked some of the stuff that goes down in hospitals is. The AA committee warns against causing infants any pain. I mean, yeah. Then the true buying power amount for Medicaid circumcisions must be much higher when accounted for inflation. We have a very capable UVA law student helping with the Oregon complaint. Oh, that's 100% true. He has made it worlds better. I mean, and he's won appellate brief writing at UVA, which is a top, one of the top law schools in the world. And you could tell from his work that he's like the best of the best, and it's epic to have him on the team. You're welcome, Quincy. Happy to speak on this. Please hit like on this video. It helps reach. Definitely share my streams. I'm going to be doing a stream every day. As Graham says, I'd love to attend the conference, but I'm in the UK. We'll be watching any live streams that I can. Well, I'm glad to hear. I normally do it at the end of the day because I'm working till usually 9 p.m. But, I've been doing, who knows. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to be doing a live every day. Happy you can make this one, Graham. I know it's not that late. So again, the link for the conference is right here. Definitely go check out the link. You can get it right here. And I look forward to meeting those of you who can make it to the conference on March 29th in Portland, Oregon. It's going to be a historic conference. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up the live stream. It is still daylight here in Los Angeles. And, we're going to continue the grind here. Thank you all for joining the live stream, and have a great Saturday. So again, get your tickets, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Bye, guys.